Hi everybody, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video where we're talking about players linked to Newcastle United. Yes, the window isn't open, but it doesn't stop players being linked to us. And there'll be loads more players linked to us over the course of this World Cup as well, because there's a lot of targets on show and a lot of agents will be throwing their clients' names out there trying to be linked to Newcastle United, because we have got loads of money. Everybody knows that, and our name is now getting pulled up left, right, and centre, every player that there is. So we're going to get stuck into this player. He's a very familiar sounding player, actually, to a lot of us Premier League fans, but we'll get stuck into him in a minute. I'll give you my opinion on it. It's not ITK this, I can't stress it more enough. It's just literally us talking about who's been linked in the media, just giving you a little bit of insight into the articles that have been pushed out there about this link, and also looking at the player stats to see where we think they could or maybe not fit into our side. So just before we do a little bit of housekeeping, if you haven't already, please click the like and subscribe button. Love you to come and join us. We're on about 2,068 subscribers now, so you could really help us get that 2,100 milestone. We'd love you to get us there. All free content is just smash the button. You won't regret it. Just Newcastle United banter, keeping you up to speed with transfer links and obviously opinion on how we think the club is doing. Can't wait for the season to come back. Getting sick of this World Cup already. So let's get stuck into this player. And who are we talking about? Of course, we're talking about this fella right here. That is Moise Kean. Now, I'm not keen on Kean. I'll explain why in a minute. Now, Moise Kean, as you know, young Italian international. He's got 12 caps for 4 goals. Really good strike rate, actually, since he got capped by his country. Played for Juventus beforehand. Did really well. Was a very young, exciting prospect. A lot of teams were linked to him. A lot of teams were after him. And weirdly, he went to Everton, which everyone was quite surprised at on that one. And he signed for Everton, and he didn't particularly do quite well in the Premier League. He struggled a little bit. So you can see there, he signed for Everton back in 2019, played for them until 2020, had 39 appearances, only 4 goals and 2 assists. And then after that, he was farmed out on loan. Now, obviously, Everton have shelled out a bit of scratch on this lad. He's only 22 years old. He's only a young boy. He's got loads of potential. So I think Everton didn't want to cut their losses and sell him at a loss. They thought they could send him out, getting some game time, getting some experience, probably gets wages off the books as well, which is a big thing, because Everton are in a bit of a financial hole, because I don't know who the hell did their bookkeeping, Mr. Tumble, possibly, by the sounds of it. But so they shoved Moise Kean out on loan at Paris Saint-Germain, of all places. So it shows you the caliber of the kid, that he has got some talent and ability, that these huge clubs want to take him on. And you can see from the stats there, he went to PSG, surrounded by all that talent, and he still banged in 17 goals and 41 appearances and got 2 assists. So he actually did quite well for PSG, in all fairness. So when that loan deal was done, he was obviously on his way back to Everton, and then Juventus came back in, and they obviously wanted to give him another chance to come back to the club that he did so well at previously. So how has he done at Juventus then? So he's been at Juventus this season, and he's got 4 goals and 13 appearances in the Serie A, and 1 goal in the Champions League. So in 18 appearances, he's got 5 goals. So it's not too bad of a strike rate. It's not exactly 1 and 2, but you know, I think he's more of a. I say about Moise Kean, he's not like a Callum Wilson type player. Even though we've compared him to the side there, he's still a very young lad. He's more of a striker that kind of pulls out wide, as you can see from the heat map there. He spends a lot of time dragging players out wide, and potentially that's why it didn't really work for him at Everton, because that wasn't the way they were trying to play him. They were trying to play him through the middle. I just don't think it was really working. I mean, Everton were a bit of a shambles, really, in all fairness, all over the place. Is still that much better now, but maybe it was just the wrong club for him. Possibly the right time to come to the Premier League, but the wrong club. So I'm not too sure how I feel about the links to Moise Kean. I mean, the story goes apparently that Newcastle United are interested in him now. I take this with a huge pinch of salt, to be honest with you. So I mean, the news has been reported by an Italian news outlet called is it Calcio Mercato? Apparently, we are one of many Premier League clubs that are admirers of him. Now, I'm not too sure that is the case, but apparently Eddie Howe sees him as a really good backup striker. Now, that I can believe, but I'm not sure Everton would sell this kid to us, possibly at a loss as well. I just can't really see that happening. I don't think we would get him on loan either. I'd be really surprised at that. I mean, I think we've already seen how that experience doesn't work at all. Manchester United, you know, with even with Borgia down at or Brozier, sorry, down at Chelsea, that all went tits up as well, as did the Pulisic and Gallagher deals. So I don't think Premier League clubs really want to loan us any players to strengthen us even more, especially when we're sitting in third as well at the minute. Now we're one of the best sides in the league. You know, on form, the 5th best team, you know, in a year's worth of football. So I don't think they're going to lend us one of their players to possibly strengthen us and have us finishing higher than them in the league. But Everton are light years away from us at the minute. They're the wrong end of the table. We are flying high and they're just kind of propping themselves up, really. I think Lampard will keep them up. I think he's probably done enough to keep them in a Premier League for another season. I know he did it last season, but possibly this season as well. I'm not sure whether they're going to give him any real money to strengthen. I think they're in a bit of a financial hole, so maybe selling Kean might be some necessary funds to raise. But I just can't see him in Newcastle United. I really can't. And I think the way he struggled in the Premier League, I'm just not sure whether he would actually improve us. Listen, don't get me wrong. If you gave me Moise Kean over Chris Wood tomorrow, I'd snap your hand off twice. But I just think that it doesn't look like the Premier League suits this kid's game. There's been loads of good players over the years where Premier League just doesn't suit their game, and I think Moise Kean might just be one of those. Yes, he's young, and yes, there's time for him to get better. God, I mean, Chelsea got rid of De Bruyne and Salah at one point, once upon a time, so it can happen. The lads can go and become much better players and then come back and be twice the player that they ever were and you ever thought they would be. But I'm just not sure there's much truth in this. There might just be a bit of agents, I think, throwing a name out there just to get a bit of an interest in the lad. And obviously Newcastle United, with the money that they have and the status that they have, it can drive up transfer fees, it can drive up wage packages that are being offered to the guy as well. So it's potentially a little bit of that, a little bit of mischief making, I think, going on by the agent. But, just for shits and giggles, we have done a comparison on Moise Kean. And you can see there is, his strike rate's pretty good. He's got 0.52 goals per 90 minutes. He's in the 74th percentile. His XG's up at 85th percentile at 0.57. Goals to shot ratio is in the 87th percentile of 0.20. Dribble completions, he's very good dribble over the ball, 74th percentile, and his completions is 81. So he is a handy player. There's no doubt about that. He's got a turn of speed, good from shooting from range, as Mark says there. He's good in the air as well. He's a good finisher, very clinical finisher. Can slip a nice through ball, a killer pass through as well. So, he's not a bad player. There's no doubt about that. And if Newcastle United wanted him and they went for him, of course, I'd support the lad. But I just don't see that happening. I really don't. I do think Chris Wood will go. I don't think he'll go in January. I'd be quite surprised at that. Unless we can find ourselves a much, much better replacement, because I think it's pretty clear that Chris Wood is where we were, not where we want to go. No disrespect to him. I think he came in at the time, he banged in a couple of goals. It helped us get some crucial results to keep us in the league last season. But I'd be shocked if Chris Wood isn't gone in the summer to a championship club, or possibly a club that's just been promoted to the Premier League, who's looking for a centre forward. And then we go on to bigger and better, especially if we're finished in the Champions League come the end of the season, which by the looks of it, could be a real possibility. But you can see just from the radar that Mark's done on the side there. I mean, really, Moise Kean's kind of similar to Callum Wilson in terms of his statistics, in terms of his game time. He's played a little bit more than Callum minutes-wise, but you can see Callum leads the way on goals, but I think in terms of dribbles and passes, Moise Kean edges it there. We've already said this about Callum. He's not really a goal creator. He's more of a goal scorer. You wouldn't have thought it with that goal he set up for Jack Grealish in the World Cup the other day. But, Callum's great. We love him at bits, but he is the wrong side of 30, and we are going to have to start looking at a plan B. But for me, I look at Moise Kean, I just think he's a worse version of Alexander Isak. So it doesn't make sense for me at all. I think if you're going to bring in another striker, you do almost want a striker that's way better than Wood, but in that Wood kind of a mold. If you have to mix it up and he has to be big and strong, get in the way and hold the ball up and let players run off him and, rough people up and stuff like that. A little bit like a, Andy Carroll Mark 1 type of a centre forward. You maybe want that on the bench, or as an alternative option so you can change things up. But I think Moise Kean, like I say, for me, is just too similar in terms of Isak, possibly getting in the way of Maxi and Miggy. So yeah, I think it's a total non-starter. This, I just think it's an agent story pushed out in the media to try and get his client to move. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you think Moise Kean would be a good signing, when I'm being a bit too harsh. But for me, I just don't think he's Premier League ready. I think he's already shown that by blowing out with Everton, really, and then just going out on loan to other European clubs where maybe the leagues are a bit slower pace or a less physical league than the Premier League. But let us know what you guys think. We always like to engage with you in the comments. Drop it in, and we'll do our best to come back to you. And remember, like this video, it really helps the channel grow, really helps push the videos out to other people who potentially haven't come across us yet. And if you haven't, if that is you, and you watch this for the first time, smash that button, come and join us, help us get to that 2,100 subscriber mark. You won't regret it. We've only been going less than a year, so we've had a fantastic year so far. We've had loads of people join We've got a great little community in the chats as well, in the live shows, so you won't regret coming on. You'll have a great crack as well. And yeah, this is us wrapping up for another Rumour Has It video. I'm sure we'll be back with plenty more. There's loads of players being linked week to week to week in the lead up to the January transfer window. So make sure you keep it ever more, guys. Keep your eyes peeled for those transfer videos and the 2 weekly podcasts that we smash out Mondays and Wednesdays. This is Chris signing off. Let's keep supporting that team. We'll call United, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.